Hello everyone, Roohani Reiki with you again with my healing stories. Trauma is a word which most of us know, and I sincerely hope that most of you have never had any traumatic experiences in your life. In our growing years, when we are going to school, we have our parents, our teachers, we learn a lot of things, but we never learn how to deal with trauma, right? In 2001, in Gujarat, India, I was right in the middle of a huge earthquake with my family and friends. Following year, we had the riots, Godhra riots, Gujarat, India. And of course, in 2001, we also had 9/11. So, a series of awful things happening one after the other. Somewhere in 2002, I started feeling that I'm not well because I had stopped sleeping, I was not eating well, I had lost a huge amount of weight, I had no energy. I used to feel listless. I was probably under a huge depression. I went to a lot of doctors. All kinds of checkups were done, and they all said, "You are absolutely fine." But deep within, I knew I was not well. And then, exactly after 2 years of my first Reiki healing, in June 2002, I landed up at the Reiki Center, which was on the first floor of my building. I was staying on the third floor. I wasn't aware that it was a Reiki healing center. There, I met this kind gentleman with very, you know, soothing presence. And I ended up telling him all my troubles. He called me to the center next day, and his wife, Dolly Makker, a beautiful human being, she did my healing, and I went off to sleep. I slept for 5 hours, a deep healing sleep. When I woke up, I felt, oh my God, I have got a new lease of life. So that was the second time Reiki had had this impact on me. And now was the time for my experience to turn into belief. Yes, and that's how my Reiki journey began. And in this journey, I have met some beautiful human beings with stories. And these stories I'm going to bring to you every week. But for now, let's hear what Mr. Makkar has to say about healing and about the current situation in the world where probably we all need to turn into self healers. In conversation with Mr. Surinder Makker, my Reiki teacher. Hello, sir.
Hi, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I have a. Let's begin by talking about your journey. You had a long journey on this healing path, I would rather say. So
Mhm.
I'm sure my viewers, my followers on Instagram would love to hear from you, sir.
Uh, well, where do I begin? Okay, so let me take you back to early 90s, 1990s.
Yes,
So
sir.
we got married, and into a few months into the marriage, I realized that I was having frequent headaches. Okay, uh, and the only thing which used to work for me was I was against taking any tablets or anything. So I used to apply balms, and they used to give me some kind of a relief. Then someone suggested me to get into pranayam yoga for some other matters, not for my headache. Of course, that was not the cause of concern then. So there was a bit of darkness in my life, and I joined a course, got into pranayam yoga, and during the course, 15 days course, I discovered that my headache had disappeared. Because till then my belief system was that okay, only allopathic medication, you know and suddenly I find something that okay, I'm doing a bit of pranayam, bit of yoga, and my headache, which has been coming and going for a few years now, is just disappeared. Then one thing led to another, and then we had another period of darkness in life, and that got me into Reiki back in 96. So I joined Reiki. I was able to deal with the darkness which was there in my life. This was related to a younger daughter who was a few months old. So I was able to help her through the Reiki thing. But being a mechanical engineer, I was not very really convinced, like how can touching someone
Yeah.
just help? But then I got into it that, okay, I go by the results and let's see. So I just started going deeper, then became a grandmaster in 97, master in 97, a grandmaster in 98. And then I started going around various cities of India. I got invitations, so I was taking workshops. But by around 2001, 2002, there was this realization that it's a beautiful thing, I mean, as far as routine matters go. But
Yes, sir.
for some deeper aspects, maybe something more is needed. So then started a totally different journey of expansion of my skills, internal skills. As you can say, as a human being, as so many things which were there in my life, they were in my blind spot, which was also affecting my abilities as a healer for people who were coming to me with similar problems.
Yes, sir.
You can say that, if someone is scared of cancer, then that person would not be a very effective healer for cancer.
Yes, sir.
All right. Till such time that he or she does not overcome her own internal fears, internal demons. But then there's so many areas of life which we're not even aware of, So the journey took a totally different turn. Then I was also thinking that although Reiki, yoga, pranayama, meditation, all these therapies are natural, so to say. But deep within, there was a belief that, okay, there is something beyond this also. Because ultimately, when we are learning or practicing this, we have to go to a classroom, to a teacher, to learn all these modalities. So I felt that there has to be an easier path to, healing rather than, because let's be honest, doing Reiki, sometimes it takes hours and hours of practice, and even then we don't get the desired results. Okay. On the contrary, we get results totally opposite to what we are expecting. So that was a big question mark for me.
Yes,
and also Reiki was not helping me effectively deal with situations related to people close to me, because of this huge issue of attachment to results. So then the journey took me onto a totally different this thing, and now it's like, the original mode is just plain and simple breathing, consciousness, and things happen. But yes, Reiki is a very, very it's a brilliant, beautiful. It was a brilliant, beautiful step during all this journey.
Yes, sir.
And took me to the greater things. Without Reiki, I don't think that would have been possible, because the
Yes,
minds
sir.
and all, they need to understand all the
Yes.
so-called how the energy dynamics, how energy works, and all those things. So it was a good stepping stone for me.
Yeah. So, sir, the way you described and how Reiki took you to a journey within, and you discovered other things, and then, like you're saying, right now it's like just breathing, consciousness. So, do you and of course you've had so many students and you've met so many who've come to you and you have guided them. So you do agree that Reiki kind of guides us to take our own path, right, sir?
I would say that we are already on a path, and therefore Reiki comes to the ones who are already on the path. So it's kind of a stepping stone, or rather a tool which we as human beings have already kept ahead. Like when I
Yes,
look
sir.
back and connect the dots,
Yes, sir.
why did I not go into Reiki straight away? Because I had got the introduction when I started expanding myself in the world of yoga and
Yes,
pranayama
sir. Yes, sir.
in 94. At that point of time, I also heard about Reiki, and it was an option. But I had laughed it off. I said, no, how can this be possible? But
Correct.
couple of years later, things happened, things transpired. I mean, events unfolded in my life, and I was left with no other option but to kind of look into this thing called Reiki at that time,
Correct. Correct.
and in 4 to 6 hours of my starting the practice, I got the results.
Yes, sir.
So I can say that these are tools that we as human beings have already kept ahead in our path to wherever we are meant to be in this lifetime.
Correct. So, sir, as it happened with you, then it happened with me, and I think I have quite a few people here in my followers list who are already into Reiki. So they, I think it's a fact that we started with self-healing, but Reiki is
Yes.
one practice which allows us to start becoming a facilitator for other people's healing. So we
Absolutely.
begin
Absolutely.
this whole journey and we start discovering things about healing, I would say, not only at a physical level, but mental, emotional, spiritual, all the levels, right? We look into
Mhm.
foods and we start looking at even the effect of exercise or being close to the nature. All these
Yep.
aspects somehow become very, I would say, they suddenly come into limelight in our own consciousness, right? So
Yep. Yep.
what do you understand about healing, sir? What is healing?
Ah,
How does it work?
see, to start with, you become a healer. Okay. Because our consciousness is that something is wrong with me. So basically, I think everyone I have come across starts with healing some physical ailment. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then we become open to healing of the mind. And then we become open to healing the spirit. And then we start believing in holistic healing. But subsequently, now when I look back, actually, now this, not many people would be ready to believe in this, and I'm okay with that. Okay.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
So actually, there is nothing to be healed. All right. So there is nothing to be fixed ultimately. So what is happening is, at the preliminary stage back in 90s, if someone had talked to me about cancer, then I would have said that, okay, cancer is a disease. Okay, and you have chemotherapy, radiotherapy, all those things, which are there to help us. Then when I got into pranayam, yoga, then I would have said that, okay, cancer is a disease. Primarily, you need chemotherapy, radiations, and everything. And when you do yoga pranayam, it makes your pain and suffering a bit less. Okay. So when I got into the world of Reiki, okay, you don't need to do it yourself, someone else can come and do it for you, like give you the energy needed to take care of your, even at that time, you're fighting against cancer. All right. So now, when I look back, now if someone comes to me with a cancer situation, I won't call it a disease anymore. So what is it, cancer now? The cancer is an experience that that person is invited into his or her life, okay, in order to discover maybe something deeper. All right.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
cancer becomes the doorway to this world that we are living in already. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But that person is in the consciousness that initially he or she has to cure his cancer, to heal the cancer. All right.
Correct. Correct.
So from moving there to getting into the acceptance that, okay, I am the one who has created this cancer. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore I have access to the other side also. I can uncreate the cancer also. Do you get me?
Yes, sir, of
It's
course.
like an experience. So once earlier it was like you're on a roller coaster and life is a roller coaster. Now when I look back, okay, I choose that roller coaster when I'm maybe bored with life. It could be a disease which has come to me. But then the internal shift is, okay, it's just another experience, in
Correct.
the long list of experiences. But then it takes time to get into that space. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, I really understand that getting takes time to get into that space. So, sir, in today's scenario, the way we are, in fact, I have just known a few people very recently who were not feeling well, but they were very afraid to go to the hospital because they thought hospital is just the right place to catch the coronavirus. So,
Absolutely.
so do you think during these times, as a humanity, I think more and more people will awaken to the fact that we can heal ourselves, at least for small ailments. We don't really need to always resort to allopathy or an external medicine. I think you understand what I'm saying, sir. So, what are your views on this, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely. So while the world is looking at, majority of the humans are looking at coronavirus as a curse. Okay, there are lots who are enlightened and they're looking at the other side, the right side also. See, good and bad are always together.
Correct.
Now, the majority of humans who are in that consciousness that coronavirus is a curse, is a disaster, are actually the ones who are ready to move to the next level. There's so many people who are happy that corona has happened. In the sense, it's given them time to connect with themselves, with their families, with nature. And then you see so many miracles happening. Actually, they're not miracles. You know, nature is clearing up, the rivers are becoming cleaner. So many good things are happening. But for that to happen at a global scale, we needed this global thing. So coronavirus actually is not the best way, but well, that is what humanity's mass consciousness has chosen. I'm going to say, repeat myself,
Yes.
you know.
Yes, sir. Yes.
We have chosen, therefore corona has come to our lives. Yes, others, some would have played a role in creating this virus and all that. That's all a different thing altogether. But yes, humanity was ready for this global shift, and therefore corona is there. It's given us time to take a break, to take a pause, step back from the way things were happening in life, slow down things, and connect with ourselves. So the ones who are ready, they have moved towards the light, if you want to use that word. But the ones
Yes,
who are not ready have actually gone into deeper darkness. Okay? Ultimately, darkness is what it's like, you know, it wakes you up. We need drama and or trauma in our lives to kind of awaken to these possibilities, and that's what's happening.
Yes, sir. I like that, drama and trauma. Sir,
Yeah.
in fact, sir, this thing, I do remember that when my son was like 2 years old and he would keep falling ill very frequently. So I had started going to this homeopath doctor who was himself a Reiki grandmaster. And he told me that your son falls more ill because you're so anxious about it and you bring in that energy for him.
Exactly.
I had got so offended. I was genuinely offended that how can a mother want her child to be sick? I did not understand him, but yes, of course, I kept going back to him because his medicines were very effective for my child. It's only much later I realized that yes, and I think that's a huge another level of discussion. And I know that I'm going to leave my followers with this curiosity that yes, you're going to get into this, but in the next episode of session with my sir and my Reiki teacher, Mr. Surinder Makker. Thank you so much, sir, for being with me today.
Can I add one parting this thing? Like
yes,
for
sir.
cancer, we said, so I just want to add on to that.
Yes,
so
sir.
back in 96, 97, when I was taking on cancer patients as a professional healer, then I was focused only on the cancer patient. Okay. Now, if a cancer patient comes to me, then I focus on the family, on the pets. Okay. That what's the energy dynamics between all these things. All right. So that would give you something to chew about. All right.
Yes, sir. And I am going to, this gives me a very good idea. We're going to follow this with the next round of session next Sunday. Okay.
Absolutely,
thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my views. Thank you. All the best. Thank you. Take
My
care.
pleasure, sir.
Bye.